All right, what is going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to the KC Sports Report. Michael Darcy, your host here as always. And today I wanted to break down 3 Chiefs players that could take a big step in 2021. So it's been a while since I've talked to you guys about some Chiefs news. And honestly, this is a topic that I've wanted to cover for a long time now, but life got busy, so I kind of put it off. But I'm here right now. Going over 3 Chiefs players that, in my opinion, have the best chance of taking a big step in 2021. And, I did take a lot of time and effort into this video. I just didn't want to come on here and just think of 3 random players. I did put some thought into it, so if you like the channel and you like the content that I'm putting out more frequently now, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. And if you have Twitter, follow us on Twitter, follow the show on Twitter. That's at KC Sports Report. I'm much more active on Twitter now, trying to grow that account. So if you want to hear more of my reactions and hot takes, follow my Twitter. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the video. So the first player that I think could have the biggest leap in 2021 is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, to a lot of people, that's not really a surprise. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a guy that had very high expectations coming into 2020. I don't want to say that he didn't surpass the expectations, but he didn't undervalue the expectations. What I mean by that is he wasn't necessarily great to the point of passing them, but he didn't not pass the expectations. I think for a rookie running back in an Andy Reid offense, he did relatively well, and I want to give him credit for that. But I also think that with this revamped offensive line, him getting to know the playbook a little bit better, he's going to be fully healthy in 2021. I just think that this could be a breakout year. And, a lot of people, I'm not really big into fantasy football, but a lot of fantasy football people have told me that, hey, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a stud this year. So for you fantasy football players out there, he's the guy to be on the lookout for. In 2020, he averaged 4.4 yards a carry. He only had 181 carries, and he rushed for 803. So I do think that this year with this revamped offensive line, and like I said, he's going to be in a position to put up a lot of yards and a lot of stats in this offense that is going to put up a lot of points. So in my opinion, we could be looking at a 1,200 rush yard season for Helaire and maybe a 1,700 to 1,800 all-purpose yard season. I think that, coming out of LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a big pass-catching threat. And I don't want to say that Andy Reid didn't use him like that, but, he wasn't really utilized in the passing game the same way that we really could have. So I do think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to do what he does best and get a lot more carries and receptions out of the slot. So I think that's another asset of his game that a lot of teams are going to learn this year, that, hey, he's going to be able to run the ball effectively down your throat as well as go out in the slot and catch passes. And, Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year was one of the best running backs after contact. And, if for a guy his size, he's only like 5'8", 5'9", he's a bowling ball. I mean, he is shown in the NFL that he will hit you, or you're going to hit him, but he's going to keep going. He was one of the top leaders in the NFL last year at yards after the initial hit. And I think that that's only going to improve this year with a better offensive line. So my first player that's going to take a step in 2021, and honestly, it might be a big surprise, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, the second player is more controversial, and this is a guy that has been, I don't want to say criticized super heavily, but he's never really lived up to expectations in Kansas City, and that guy's Mecole Hardman. Like I said, he never really lived up to expectations. But, a lot of people kind of thought that he was going to be the Tyreek Hill 2.0, and that's not fair to put on any player, let alone a guy coming out of Georgia that really didn't have any of the intangibles that Tyreek Hill had except speed. So realistically, that's a pretty bad comparison, but I do think that Hardman's going to have a better chance to make an impact on the field this year. Now, I'm not saying he's going to put up career numbers. Well, actually, he might put up career numbers because his numbers in the past haven't really been that good. Last year, he caught 560 for 4 touchdowns. I think that, Sammy Watkins is in Baltimore now. I think it's a very good possibility that Mecole Hardman gets second wide receiver snaps. So if he does take over that role for Sammy Watkins, he could be around the 700, 800 yard mark, and that's with Tyreek Hill getting like 12 to 1,300. So I do think that he's going to take a step. The big criticism of him in the past is he's not really finished his routes. He's had trouble catching the ball. I mean, he's shown flashes like that catch in New Orleans where he basically was able to toe tap in the back of the end zone for a great touchdown. But he has had problems catching the ball, and it just kind of looks at times like he doesn't really know what he's doing. So I do think that he's going to have to fix that, obviously, if we want to see a big step out of him in 2021. But at the same time, this is his year 3, and most wide receivers they boom or bust in year 3. I mean, we've seen it. I think Tyreek Hill bursted onto the scene kind of in the facet of the Tyreek Hill we know today in year 3. So I do think that if Mecole Hardman is going to be anything in Kansas City, he's got to show it this year. So I do think that he's going to have a chance with Sammy being gone to take over that number 2 wide receiver. And hopefully, in my opinion, he's going to have a career year. Now, the third and final player on my list is L'Jarius Sneed. Now, this is a guy that was drafted in the 4th round, I believe, in 2020. And coming into the season, my expectations weren't really that high. I thought that, hey, maybe he's a guy that's going to work his way up from special teams. He's going to get a chance to kind of prove himself, and he's going to be a solid, like a plug-and-play guy that can give you meaningful snaps. But right off the bat, L'Jarius Sneed made a big impact in just week 1. And, he obviously got hurt. I believe it was in Baltimore. He broke his collarbone. But all of 2020, L'Jarius Sneed was a big bright spot on this Chiefs defense. He had 3 interceptions in total and 7 passes deflected to go alongside 31 total tackles, or solo tackles rather. And, I think that this is a guy that is going to have a big 2021 because most of 2020 he kind of flew under the radar because no one really expected him to be anything. I mean, I was one of the many people that really didn't have monster expectations. And I think that after what he did last year, putting up those kind of stats and basically being a lockdown slot corner, I do think the expectation has changed. And especially because this Chiefs secondary doesn't have the bodies that they did last year. Bashaud Breeland left in free agency. I think that DeAndre Baker is a good addition, but we're still going to have to see what he provides. So I think that Brett Veach and this Chiefs front office are really banking on L'Jarius Sneed to be that number 1 corner, that true number 1 corner that this team has lacked for so long. And, he doesn't really have much experience playing on the outside. So I think that if they're going to move him to the outside, his expectations should be to basically be the kind of cornerback that he was last year. Now, obviously, I think he's going to get targeted a lot less because a guy that has the ball hawk potential and the capabilities that L'Jarius Sneed does, quarterbacks are smart and they're not going to willingly throw to a receiver that is being guarded by him. But he's going to get his chance, and I think that L'Jarius Sneed, like all of last year, he's going to get that chance, and he's going to show out, and I really believe that. So, in my opinion, the 3 players that are going to have the best 2021, or at least going to make a big step and surprise some people, are Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mecole Hardman, and L'Jarius Sneed. And if you notice it, these are all homegrown talents. I mean, these have all been players that we've drafted in the past 3 years. So, I do think that the expectations for these guys coming into the season are pretty high, but I really do expect them to take a big leap from what they did last year. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe for more of the best Chiefs content on YouTube. You can also follow us on Instagram for more of the latest updates on future videos, as well as instant Chiefs news right after it happens. You can also support the channel via the Patreon, as well as buying merchandise from the KC Sports Report store on Teespring. The links to all of those websites will be in the description. You just listened to the KC Sports Report, presented by Michael Darcy.